on, guys? It's your boy Gsluke here with our DFS fades and sleepers for this week's Tour Championship. A wonky week of pricing, wonky ownership to say the least after my first run. A ton up top, plenty of guys down low that, believe it or not, are mega chalk this week. So a lot to navigate, a lot of strategy and game theory to consider, and that's exactly what we're going to do here. Go over the most overhyped plays, the guys that I'll be fading in my player pool that I don't think are all worth all the attention that they're getting. And then on the other end of the spectrum, the more positive side, we're going to be dealing with our sleeper picks, right? The guys being overlooked, people that I think still have plenty of potential or upside to go out there and put up a ceiling performance. People that I'll certainly be taking shots on myself. So that's the idea here. Excited to hop up onto Gsluke after I record this video and start to bring you guys some content from the golf course. So looking forward to it all. Let's go ahead and hop on in. All right, let's get this started with our fades as we usually do, but a little bit atypical this time is the price of the fades. I mean, look at this, $8,000 Corey Connors. We have $6,700 to hit the gala, coming in at 25% owned. It's a wacky slate. I know I started it with the beginning, but just to give you an idea of ownership in general, and now a lot of it's going to be blacked out, but we can get an idea here. Up top, you have a lot of mega chalk, right? Patrick Cantlay, Scotty Scheffler, going to be even higher owned now that somebody like Willie Z withdrew. You have Xander Schauffele is going to be relatively high owned. And then in this mid-tier range, you can see a few sleepers that we're going to talk about. There's a dead zone. I would say from Sam Burns the whole way down to pretty much Corey Connors, a lot of low-owned guys. So believe it or not, 15% owned Corey Connors is one of the higher-owned guys in this range. He's higher owned than a Hovland, than a Matt Fitzpatrick, for example. So it's all relative here, right? You have to understand that. And then down low, 25% to hit the gala isn't even all that crazy. I mean, you have guys higher owned than him down here in the $5,000, the $6,000 range. It is a wacky slate to say the least. So you're going to have to pick and choose your spots. Even if you're playing 150 lineups, you can probably only play like 15 to 18 guys, maybe 20 at most in your 150 max pool. So we're going to have to exclude some players. So the one that I'm excluding here, the 8K range, is Corey Connors. Because like I mentioned, he's one of the highest owned guys in the range, higher owned than a Matty Fitz, for example, and not that much lower owned than somebody like a Colin Morikawa or a Jordan Spieth, who I'd argue are much better players with a lot more upside at this event than somebody who's more expensive and only just marginally less owned. So for me, Corey Connors is going to be a fade. It's not like he's playing horribly at all, right? The ball striking has been there. The putter has been a lot better in 2022 than it has been for pretty much any other calendar year. But the issue is the upside. At -1, we need somebody who can vault up the leaderboard. And this is for a large field GPP, right? You always got to keep that in mind. These videos are catered for the large field contest, right? 20,000, sometimes 100,000 plus entry contest. And as a result, we need the top 6 finishers, right? Ideally, we want the optimal lineup to take down one of these contests. And Corey Connors, I'm not sure if he has that kind of upside, right? He doesn't make all that many birdies, a little bit more consistent than he is volatile. And really for the large field type of stuff, we want the volatile players. Somebody who might go from -1 to -15 on the week and get into that top 5, right? I'd argue that Morikawa and Jordan Spieth have much more avenues to get there. So for me, Corey Connors is going to be a fade at 15%, but that's not going to be rocket science. The other fade is maybe a little bit more interesting because of how highly owned he is, right? 25% owned to hit the gala. I'm starting at even par. Now, if he was going to be low owned, right? If he was going to be a pivot in this range, sign me up for Sahith, right? He's got some upside, right? He can go out there and make birdies in bunches, but he's $6,700. I think that is fair, right? Especially when you consider that, $500 more, you can get somebody at -4 like Sepp Straka, right? What is it, $600 more? What is it? No, I can't do math here. $700 more. You can get somebody like a Scott Stallings there at -3. There are pivots to be made, and he's almost as high owned, if not higher owned, than some of those players. So he's no longer a pivot. If anything, Sahith Theegala is one of the people who's driving a lot of attention, right? One of the hot commodities this week. And as a result, going to be a fade, right? If you're going to get leverage there, you're probably going to have to play him in at least 50% of lineups, probably closer to maybe 60 if you want to get to that 2, maybe 2.5x roll that some people put out there. And just something that I'm personally not willing to get to. There are pivots that I like a Billy Horschel. He loves the golf course. I mean, I mentioned chalk, Scott Stallings, also maybe getting to a Sepp Straka. I think that I'd rather eat that type of chalk than get to somebody like Sahith. And last year, right, Kevin Na started at -4. So, there's a lot of utility in getting to somebody that has some starting strokes because that can get you into the top 5, or like Kevin Na last year, a tie for second place if you have a good performance. Sahith Theegala could have a similar type of outcome, and that's probably going to be a top 10 finish. And, for a large field GPP, you might need those placement points. It's kind of like we're thinking about a Sunday showdown here on Thursday, right? And I know it's so early to be thinking about that, but it really does matter come the stretch, particularly if you're in the large field stuff. Now, if you're in 2 to 3 maxes, that sort of thing, right? I think you can kind of ignore ownership, right? If you like Sahith this week, you think he just projects better from a points perspective, then go to him, right? Because you don't need to beat 20,000, 100,000 other entries. So just understand that these fades, these sleepers, the player pool in general has to be catered for the contest that you're in. So for those reasons, I am out on Corey Connors and Sahith Theegala. But on the other side of things, the more positive end, right? We like to be positive around here, right? Have some fun, not all be doom and gloom all the time like some people are. Let's talk about our sleeper picks. Love myself Sam Burns at $9,900. So he's 17.1% owned, which is a lot lower owned than the guys up top, like a solid 5-10% in many cases. So you are getting a little bit of leverage there. And by taking a Sam Burns, it takes you off of some chalk, right? I expect Tony Finau to be really popular. It's going to take you off of a Rory McIlroy right there at $900 more expensive. So by taking him, maybe mixing him with one of these other guys up top, I think you're going to be starting a lot more unique than a lot of other people. And, he's at -5, right? He's one shot back of Xander Schauffele. I don't know why no one's talking about Burns like he's got a chance to win this. He certainly does. He's a long player, great approach player, what we're looking for at this golf course. He can mix that accuracy and his distance like no other. And oh boy, can he putt on Bermuda grass. Sign me up. I love the Valspar as a comp here. A few of the other comps he's had some success at as well. Just a lot of reasons to like Sam Burns this week. I'm fired up to play him. I'm going to play like 40-50% in my lineups, maybe even more, really, if I need to get some extra leverage, if I can fit it into my player pool, because I am that bullish on his chances here. So what could it be, win number 3 for this season? I mean, if he wins this week, it could very well be the player of the year. Would not surprise me whatsoever. And he's that kind of talent, right? I think a lot of people still look at him as this up-and-coming superstar. No, Sam Burns is a superstar at this point. Just needs a few more years to get some of those credentials, right? Maybe show up in a few major championships, maybe not knock one off in the next year or two. That might be a little bit ambitious, but get in there in contention, maybe take home one of these big events like a FedEx Cup, a WGC match play, that sort of thing. Might start getting attention that way. But either way, I'm really bullish here. I'll have plenty at 9,900. And lastly, Cam Young, last week's hot commodity that nobody could avoid, right? I mean, except for me, I didn't play him last week. Worked out pretty well for us. But at $9,000 -3, I will be playing him in bunches here. He's in this quote unquote dead zone, alongside a Sanjay who's going to be way underowned. Matt Fitzpatrick, who we talked about during our value picks video there yesterday. But at $9,000, Cam Young, it's not the best golf course. He's not the most accurate off the tee, but he's more than accurate enough, right? He's not missing 40, 50 yards offline all that often. He misses fairways, but it's not all that drastically. What I really care about here is just his pedigree. He's a much better player than the guys around him, and he's being owned like everyone else around him. And I think it's because of last week's performance. People see that and are like, oh no, he can't putt anymore, right? Oh no, he was broken over the weekend, so on and so forth. That happens. That's golf, guys. If you're not going to play Cam Young this week after playing him in bunches last week at like half the ownership level, then I don't really know what to tell you. Like you're a fish. You're a casual when it comes to PGA DFS. That's all I'm going to say, right? It was a brand new golf course, right? You knew nothing about it, and you think that this golf course he's never played on before is really that much worse for him just because someone said driving accuracy is all that important, right? Like, I'm even saying it's important, right? We talked about it during my course breakdown video, but even I'm willing to look past that. Right? And I'm even a course breakdown guy just because of how good Cameron Young is. So just understand that PGA DFS, a lot can happen. Golf in general, things can happen. I mean, hell, I've been on a 6 stretch of golf for quite some time and then tore up my shoulder, right? That's golf for you sometimes. It hits you with left hooks when you're not expecting it. And you definitely have to expect the unexpected when it comes to PGA DFS. All right, boys, that is all I've got for the fades and sleepers. Before you hop on out of here, go ahead and smash that like button. Also, go ahead and comment down below first off, who your biggest fade is this week. So somebody you're surely not playing that you think is going to be highly owned. And on the flip side, who your sleeper pick is, right? Maybe that diamond in the rough that you're playing that you don't see that many other people on. Would love to hear from you guys down below, and make sure to hit that like button too. We're going to have our weekly live stream. That'll be Wednesday night, so tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I'll be doing that after walking the golf course. So waking up at 3 a.m., driving up there, going to walk around East Lake, get an idea for conditions. Hopefully it's not raining tomorrow afternoon. There's a chance of a shower, so that would kind of stink. But going to get an idea for the course, see if I can walk by the range, see if Hideki's playing right. I was going to give you the report on Willie Z, but we already got that sort of news. Just keep an eye out for anything of note. So make sure to stop on by for that. There'll be a lot of nuggets. Of course, our weather live stream will talk about what to expect from quote-unquote waves, which won't be a thing this week because of 30 players. But we'll go through strategy, all of your live Q&A, all the fun stuff we do there every Wednesday evening. So looking forward to it, guys. Looking forward to this week in general. Best of luck with all of your lineups, all of your outright bets, and let's get this cash.